Nicholas on film. Today I'm going to be talking about the new Ghostbusters. Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, released in 2024. We got Trevor Spengler again, Finn Wolfhard of Stranger Things fame. And he's, this time around, he doesn't seem to have as much to do as the previous film, but he's a reliable actor, younger actor, and it seems like his main gist in this film is he's him versus Slimer, which isn't a bad thing. It's always great to see Slimer back, and even glossier than ever with the current state of the special effects. So he's more tangible than he's ever been, it seems, almost. And he's up to no good. What is it? Digging through piles of garbage and chicken bones, and anytime there's snacks or anything edible around, you can be sure Slimer's around the corner. So it seems like Finn Wolfhard or Trevor Spengler is he's the guy to stand up against him. Then there's the mom, actress Carrie Coon, playing Callie Spengler, and she's back in good form again. She was the son of Egon, who in the first film was communicating with the rest of the Ghostbusters. That's why it's called Afterlife, from the afterlife. And she had a lot of conflict with her father. He was always away. She didn't know what he was up to, when in reality he was busting ghosts and saving the world. So that was like the character arc of that film, was going from having all this contempt and bitterness towards her father to the final like tear-jerking scene, like literally it seemed for me somewhat, of meeting her father who's in the afterlife and forgiving him. So this time around is not as heavy. They got all that what is it, closet stuff cleaned up from that first one. So she's able to be herself, and she's teamed up with Paul Rudd, who's playing Gary Gruberson, who is the teacher in Oklahoma in the first one, and now he's basically recruited as an official Ghostbuster. Okay, so Nadim Razmati, his character, they wind up at his house, and he's like, "This was my grandma's place. She's no longer around." He said some funny jokes. He's like, me and her had a very complicated relationship, and she whines about him. And, I don't know, tells him that he's not anything near as useful as his brother, something like that. But and then they're at the house, and then he decides to show him a back room, and he's like, he stumbled upon it looking for Cheetos or something. And then they go there, and it's like a magnificent, like bronze ensconced room with like all these gadgets, and or not gadgets, but more like, I don't know, tools and stuff hanging all around the walls. So it turns out that has the key to helping them solve the problem of the new, I don't know, antagonist this time around, the king of the Frozen Empire, who's being unleashed upon New York City. So yeah, at some point, Phoebe Spengler lets in her new ghost friend that she meets playing chess at night, played by Celeste, or no, is it Emily Ellen Lind, from what I can gather in the film. Um, Playing her character's name is Melody, and she invites her into the firehouse. Um, Even Melody thinks that's a little odd, like where you're letting a ghost into the ghost busting abode. But that's how strong their friendship has become by that point. But then she's kind of left in the room, and it turns out that their machine where they've been storing ghosts, they have a joke that since in the 80s nobody planned for the future. So it's like they have this device where they store all the ghosts they bust, but they didn't think what happens if it gets full or something, which is basically what's happening in this movie. So something happens, and some ghost is able to get out of there and bust out a bunch of other ghosts, and he's like has the power of freezing everything all around him. So lo and behold, in no time, New York City is one big icicle and is in the process of trying to turn all the people into little popsicles. Like the other two characters, besides Peter Venkman, who he's a scene stealer. That's what he's most famous for. um, but what is it? Winston Zettermore and Peter, or not Peter, but Ray Stantz, played by Dan Aykroyd, respectively, and Ernie Hudson. Um, they get some decent screen time this time around, and I know Ernie Hudson, he's kind of stepped up a little bit. I know in the original he's kind of seemed like he's always on the side and kind of just following orders from the rest of the Ghostbusters. So this is the first time I really feel like he's kind of um, risen up a notch, and he's more integral to the proceedings, and has a strong voice and is loud and very wise. And then we have Ray Stantz, Dan Aykroyd. Ray is, I know in the previous film he was heavily involved in the storyline. This time he's pushed to the side just a little bit, but he's still pretty. He's the one who has all the knowledge, and so they go to him to this frozen god is being released, and Ray's got the answers, or he knows who to go to, and he has all the tools to help study the artifacts that they keep finding, and he's in charge of continuing the Ghostbusters legacy while the others are kind of moved on a little bit. But he's good at wrangling them all back together, which is similar to what he did in the previous film. So it's great seeing Dan Aykroyd back as Ray Stantz. He was with Bill Murray, I know, on Saturday Night Live originally, so that's where a lot of the feel from the comedic feel from the original Ghostbusters is from. And Ernie Hudson, is a reliable character actor over the years. He's still doing his thing, and he's back as Winston Zettermore. And then Spangler, the young Spanglers now, because we don't have Egon again this time around. He's there in spirit, obviously, which is what the Afterlife movie was about. But the girl is his granddaughter, Phoebe Spangler, played by McKenna Grace. She's definitely taken on the legacy of Egon. She's all brains and a very wise child. And the friendship that she strikes up with the other ghost, there were bits of it almost seemed like romantic tension to me, but they're young, so you never know. But I know these days in films they allow actors to be more open to newer kind of ideas, which in the past, were taboo. So there's a possibility, or otherwise it could just be a really strong friendship. They didn't make it clear either way, so you can read into it as much as you like. But yeah, she seems to be like the central figure, along with Nadim Razmati, played by Kamal Narjiani. So it's like whenever things get at their worst, it's like those two seem to be the ones with he's inherited like powers from his family. He can control flame, like light, control the direction of a flame, and he can enhance it and make it huge, fireball. And he has to like learn how to do that, like hardly knowing it all at the start, and then by the conclusion of the movie, having the power to turn like a match flame into a giant torch of light that can destroy a frozen king from another realm, all while cracking one-liners and wisecracking the whole time. And then Phoebe Spangler teaming up with her new ghost buddy to find the weakness of this creature and get the job done. So I enjoyed both of their plot lines and having them rise up to being top billed actors in this film. And the other aspect of the film is that one of the subplots is that there's one of the chiefs of the city, mayor maybe, possibly, I can't recall exactly, but tell them they got to close down the firehouse where they're conducting their business. Like the Ghostbusters are old news and they're a nuisance, kind of what he's hinting at. So they're kind of just like, oh, I guess we'll just give in. They're kind of so tired from all the drama going on all the time. But what's his name? Gary Gruberson, Paul Rudd's character. He has to rally the troops, and stand up and fight back, for what's theirs, what rightfully belongs to them, and stand up for the city, save it. They're protectors, and he needs to continue carrying the torch. So he does some good rousing speeches, and he gets everybody wrangled up, and then I guess it helps his cause, and in that there's a new the bad guy in town is getting worse and worse by the minute, and the only ones who can help are the Ghostbusters. So standing up and doing what they do is allows them to continue opening shop every day. Okay, so that's my take on Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, the sequel to Ghostbusters Afterlife, the sequel to Ghostbusters Reboot, or the pseudo sequel, and then follow up to the original Ghostbusters 2 and the original Ghostbusters. It's directed by Gil Kenan, as I've mentioned. Jason Reitman is still involved, and this movie is dedicated to his father, Ivan Reitman, this being the first Ghostbusters film released after his passing into the afterlife recently. May he be blessing this movie, which I'm sure he is. So yeah, and this is I recommend the film, and I wouldn't mind seeing another one. That'd be cool, the new Ghostbusters trilogy, which is something that they didn't accomplish in the first one that they just got through number 2. So yeah, so that's Nicholas on Film, me, Nicholas on Film, and until next time, over and out.